out the garage. I got 100 cars, just for the underdogs. The teller just asked me how I want the cashy. I told him 100 large. I want them gold wraps, printed up double R. Big dog, big dog, big dog. Roof, popping out saying I'm great. Ooh, Biscayne drive, I cut off my roof. You know how I'm coming this take two. Tell her, get out the way. 4x4 big phantom. They thought I was canceled. I piped up and flipped the channel. LST on the brim, they ain't think we win. I just top 10 my brother. They ain't safe when you with the underdog. I might bite, get rubbed. I'm trying to have paper, Robert Kraft and put a Tom Brady on a staff. Pull up on Drake, talking, keep with the wave, straight out of club out the garage. I got 100 cars, just for the underdogs. The teller just asked me how I want the cashy. I told him 100 large. I want them gold wraps, printed up double R. Made the Ferrari slide on the 91. 105, press the gas in the slower zone. I like PJ so much I might buy me one. Suicide on the Phantom, I slide the door. Remaining silent, ain't changing no code. I ain't got no time to be chasing no. Ain't got no time to be playing this safe. No. Slide out the garage. I got 100 cars, just for the underdogs. The teller just asked me how I want the cashy. I told him 100 large. I want them gold wraps, printed up double R.
Don't know what's coming over me. Did my head get lost in a memory? Every time I'm my own worst enemy. Feel my whole body heightening. Now your eyes on me, yeah, you're wired in. Buckle up, cause the night gonna ride it. Get close, don't know what you've been told, but it's all mirrors and smoke. We should lose control. Just leave all that pressure, get free. I got all that you need. Can you get on?
Oh, fuck it, whoa. As I went to go say hello, everyone, I just choked on my own tongue. That's awesome, innit? Fellas, welcome in. Here in Japan this evening. Wow. Fucking Origato, Mr. Roboto. That's where we're at. I know nothing about the track. Of course, we've got Sergio here today as well. Now that his car is no longer on the brink of exploding. So that's excellent news as well. So he'll be with us shortly. And like I said, quali always fun and always an interesting kind of bit of insight to find out what happens in this one. You don't want to be seeing the World Cup rosters. You need to take that off. I've got that open for later on when we break down into the Drivers' Championship, the team constructors, and so on and so on. So yeah, we're going to be doing all the usual breakdowns here tonight in that regards. There he is, everyone's favourite race analyst. Oh yeah. It's taking a little bit longer than usual to load into the game, hasn't it? It's a bit concerning, but hopefully nothing too pressing there. How are we, Sergio? You good?
Yeah, I'm clutching the hold of my voice as best as I can, but yeah, I'm here.
Why, what's that? Are you ill again? You sick again?
Nope. I've just been commentating for 3 hours before this.
Oh, right. Fair enough. Yeah, well, hey, listen, buddy, I've been there. I had to do the UFC stuff on Thursday, which is 7 hours, and my voice sounded like it was being scraped by sandpaper. So, yeah, one of them. Listen, Japan, fun one. Don't ever really hear too much about Japan. As well, it looks very overcast here. I don't know if any of the drivers have got information for us about rain, whether it be coming in quali or coming in the race, but this looks very dark. So, who knows? Maybe we'll see a little bit of rain here tonight in Japan. course, give Sergio a little bit of a rest for a couple of minutes while he's been commentating for other leagues for about 3 hours. So I'll try and do a little bit of introduction and then chime him in also. So yeah, listen, while everyone gets their app out, their outlap done and out the way, let's talk about the standings. We usually bring this in the middle of the conversation, but when in Rome, let's have a look and see what we're looking at heading into today. Race week 8, of course, and this is what it looks like. The Drivers' Championship looking like this. Chissy with 116 points compared to Bobby Leon's 115 points. Fellas, we have a duel. We have a battle to the death on our hands for Season 5's championship. A 1-point differential with only today and 2 more races left. It is Red Bull versus Alpine. Don't rule out Dom Parry just yet. 85 points. He needs a solid result today, but some would say, listen, is Chissy going to slip up again? Is Bobby Leon's going to slip up again? I don't know, but Dom Parry certainly on the outside looking in, and with his talent, with his ability, you'd think he'd still be able to make a little bit of a leap closer towards the top 2. He's also got a 9-point lead over Henry, who continues to impress me as one of the drivers of the season. 76 points for the Ferrari there in 4th position. CB46 had a fantastic and phenomenal race last week, puts him very much closer to 3rd place and 4th place as well. I think CB's aim is just going to be to get into the top 3 overall standings. 68 points, only, what is that? 78, 88, 17 points away from 3rd place. So maybe the target, the crosshair, is on Dom Parry. Shadow Gunners there with 43, Jamsey with 40, Dylan Evans with 38, Michael with 35, dropping another place despite his strong start to the season. Sean Tiller in 10th with 28, Hippo there with 21, Surty with 10, and then of course our single-digit warriors there, Pollenbreath, Kieran, Ryan Parker, Cons, Blazer Guns, Manscott, Tism, Bailey, Zink, of course, with 0 points. The ultimate question, though, remains, do we finally get to see a VRL Kieran finish? He hasn't got a single point yet. If he fails to register a single point, we say it every week, and it's going to be a recurring theme. If he doesn't register a single point, he is the league's worst ever champion. No pressure, but you got to go and get a point. You have to. Who doesn't love the rain, man, says Surty. Well, there you go. Rain in 10 to 15 minutes and also rain 45 minutes into the race, says Bobby. So there you go. We are expected to see some wet weather here tonight. That's interesting in Japan. Looking over, though, to the team championship. Here we go. The constructors. Red Bull still seemingly with a firm grip on that title. 156 points to Audi's 123. Ferrari within shooting distance of 2nd place. Only 19 points off 2nd. Big gap after that, though. Ferrari to Mercedes, 3rd to 4th. A 30-point differential. You look at those top 3 teams, though, they epitomise everything you want in terms of teams. You have strategy, you have brilliance behind the wheel, but you've also got communication, which is such a key metric as well. The Red Bull reminding you Chizzy and Jamsey. The Audi reminding you Dom Parry and Dylan Evans. And, of course, the Ferrari on the outside looking in, carried this season by Henry, as to be says, Tiller and Henry. So there you have it. I wonder what the Mercedes can do today. I'm always hopeful that we can see maybe Ryan Parker and Shadow's going to do a little bit of a madness, but it's got to be now rather than later. You got today and 2 more races. This is the 3rd to final race of Season 5. It is time to start putting results, points, everything on the table, boys. That's how simple it is. So, with all that said and done, go back over to the quali screen for you, show you what we've got over here so far. Surprise, surprise. VRL Kieran, early days, granted, sets the time so far, sets the pace so far of a 128.9. So, Sergio, welcome back. Now that your car's not on fire and a smouldering heap of arse, talk to us about Japan. Is this a track today that we can maybe see something magical happen? Could we see maybe the championship swing hands here, or is this more of a calm, simple track in Asia today?
Well, in previous years in Formula One, it's been more of a calm track. Some would even say it's fairly boring because there's not a ton of overtakes that happen here. But that's mainly due to the way the old cars were set up. They were obviously wider than this variant of car. The way their engines were set up as well did obviously limit overtakes. We didn't see anywhere near as many as what we do or what we have done this season. But with the new features, with the battery, the overtake, all those new systems that have come into play and the new engine regulations, they will benefit this track massively in terms of entertainment factor, because that means there will be more overtakes on the cars and potentially more battling going on as well, like through the S's in the first few corners. that's the part where you tend to see traffic going single file, and no one really tends to stick a nose up the inside unless you're George Russell, and you end up in the barrier anyway. So you don't really sort of get anywhere. But with these cars being slightly more narrow, you've got a little more space on the track because of the narrowness of the cars and the extra ability in the overtaking of these cars as well due to the new systems. It's going to provide more entertainment for us. Yes, it could throw a spanner in the works for the championship, but I feel like any race from here on in could do that, especially if rain gets involved, because we know what happens with that. We had it, what was it? Didn't we have a brief spell of it last week or close to it or something like that?
Yeah.
In Brazil when I was last here, and then, we've had a few races in the past before as well where rain's drastically affected the outcome. And like you say, it's overcast, and last time it was overcast like this, there was rain during the race, so it could well mix things up massively.
The question I have for you as well is I talked to Dom Parry, was racing and also driving last week, and he was talking a little bit about Australia. Of course, we're not there today, but he said Australia was one of those tracks where effectively he was good at Australia last F1 or pre-update F1, we'll call it, but now his time in Australia struggles, and that's a lot because that's a lot mainly down to the management of battery. Do you feel like today, coming back to Japan, do you feel like when you talked about battery earlier on, that this is a quote-unquote battery management track, or is it not going to be maybe as big of a factor for you?
I think there's quite a few tracks that are like that, and this one potentially yes, because it's knowing where to use it and where it benefits you most on positions to use it in. Some people are very weak through the corners, so potentially through those S's at the start of the lap, that might be a good place to use it, especially like for someone like myself. I'm not a big fan of this track in terms of racing it when I'm actually out there racing, but spectating, it's a lovely track to be at. It's just those first S's I can never quite grasp the line because I always enter them too quick or try and put the accelerator down the wrong place. So potentially using some battery coming out of there might be a good spot. Whereas for other people, they're going to be holding it for the straights. There's two of those straights with the overtaking zones on this circuit. They're going to be the places that people are going to try and use it, but we may see some others using it in corners where they may well struggle, and that might give them advantage in the earlier part of the lap, potentially escaping the trap for the overtake zone to avoid giving that car behind the advantage.
And for more so for the guys at the lower end of the tower of the grid, we don't want to kind of focus towards Henry or Bobby Leons because they're just brilliant everywhere. But when you look at maybe someone like a Bailey or maybe even someone like a Tism or a Surtees, for maybe that middle to lower end driver, which we love having it, by the way, you make the league absolutely. Is there a specific sector of this track that you deem as like that you go, ooh, that's going to be a bit of a nightmare? Is it sector 1 because of those kind of those wibbly, zigzaggy bends that are quite immediate, or is it maybe sector 2 because of that deep hairpin? I mean, what are you looking at as maybe the danger point for some of the lower end drivers tonight?
I think the danger point is going to be the first 50% of the circuit, and that's going to be from the start line all the way to the hairpin in sector 2. I think that's the most chaotic / tricky part of this circuit. The rest is very, very easy. There's a tight chicane right at the end of the track, but you've got plenty of time to brake for it. It's very difficult to get your line incorrect through there because there's only really one way you can go through it because it's very tight. And all the other corners are very shallow before that. So, I don't really think there's any issues in the last half of the circuit, but the first half, that's when the most chaos is going to be. And if I'm going to guess for collisions during the race, it's going to be in the S's at the very start in sector 1. And that's just because I think people are going to try and push the car maybe beyond its limits or try and push past others on track in areas where they necessarily wouldn't all the time.
Especially with maybe that, like I said, with what Bobby has told us, 45 minutes into the race, that rain is set to come. So who knows? Maybe again.
It's raining.
Oh, it's raining now, is it? It's already started. Yeah.
I've just seen a few drops come down.
Well, does it happen in F1 where like it starts, it stops, and then it starts again? Can that happen? Or no?
Yeah, I think it can happen. I don't think once it's on, it doesn't carry on all the time because I remember when I done GP2 in the first season, joining you guys for commentary, it was a case of the qualifying was wet, barely anyone qualified or barely anyone had any good times, and then the race, blue sky, sunny. And then the rain came again later towards the end of the race on like the last couple of laps. So it does come and go quite often, and it changes a lot quicker on here compared to other games as well.
Okay, well listen, 7 minutes to go here at Quali. A couple of FIFA stragglers I imagine will still be coming in as well. I think we'll do one more, and maybe that's it. I don't know if everyone got in on time, but yeah, dude, listen, I mean, right now, Quali at the top, we always talk about Kieran being this qualifying demon. Right now, it's been pipped by about 0.2 of a second. I know you've not really had too much chance to look at Henry last week, but the last couple of races now, I think the last 3 to 4 weeks, Henry in the Ferrari has started to really, really impress me. Do you look at this Ferrari team as still capable to kind of go out and win a race with Bobby Leons and Chissy being so, I don't know, tied neck to neck with the race? It's going to be difficult for anyone to kind of now, you know, lodge themselves in that conversation, because I think the thing that Bobby thrives on, and I think the thing that Chissy thrives on, is competition. They both respect each other on the grid. They both know that they're within a point of one another. So does that make it mission impossible now for the next 3 weeks, including today, for someone like a Henry or for a Tiller or like a Kieran to get involved and win a race?
Yeah, I think just winning a race in general, when you've got the likes of Kieran when he does finish a race, Bobby there, Chissy, I think when you've got those people on circuit, it is going to be hard to win a race full stop anyway. You know what they're like. They're absolute powerhouses of this league, and no doubt they will be for as long as they race in it. But it's never impossible. There's always chances it could happen. Like, for example, this qualifying's gone Henry's way because with this rain coming in, unless there's someone that does an absolute blinder now, people aren't going to be that lap time or even get close to it due to the wet conditions. You're not able to get the grip down, you're not going to be as quick. So he's locked down first place potentially already by getting that lap time in just in time before the rain. And now if that happens in the race, as long as you focus on what you're doing and not the cars around you, if you can pull out quick lap times lap after lap and just be consistent, you've got every right or every chance to beat those names that I mentioned and that you've mentioned, because it's all about consistency and pulling away, because they're going to find themselves in battles against each other. We've seen multiple times Bobby Leons and Chissy going at it, and they've slowed each other down because of the battling. And everyone knows when you're racing, when you battle, you slow yourself down. So best thing is if you're coming up against someone that's quite a tricky person to overtake, or you know you're similar in pace, 9 times out of 10, you just sit behind them, you save a bit of fuel, and you just overtake them when the time's right, and you know when that time will come. But yeah, the moment people start battling, it slows them down, and others can get away, and that's where Henry can capitalise. You know, you'll have Kieran, Bobby, and then you've got Chissy fighting in around where he is at the minute as well. So you'll have those people in battles trying to get around other cars when they're not going to make it easy for them. They're not going to step to one side just because of the name. They will put up a fight, and that's where it slows other drivers down. So that's the point that Henry needs to say, right, I need to get my head down here and push on.
The other question as well, all valid points. I got one, as you were talking there, I saw so many people go into the pits. I had that kind of almost like that eureka moment that I always remember that people talk to me about, and that is the one thing that I remember now consistently, not just last season, 2 seasons ago, but for about the last 18 months, Sergio, is that there have been complaints about Japan, and those complaints have all centered around the pit lane and the narrowness of it. Do you share those sentiments? Is this a tricky pit lane to avoid the penalties? Is it tricky if you're aggressive and in a rush trying to overtake? You can maybe potentially, it's so narrow you maybe clip your wing on the way in. How do you view that complaint about the pit lane here in Japan?
I get people's complaints, but at the end of the day, if it was that difficult, it wouldn't be part of the calendar.
It's valid.
As tough as it is, that's just the way it is. You can't change that. That's just the fact. If it was that bad, it wouldn't be in the Formula 1 calendar in person as well as on here. But it's there because it's doable. So these, don't get wrong, cars do struggle to get through there. These cars should find it a little easier compared to last year's, because obviously last year's are bigger. And by a fair margin as well, they are wider. So these cars should find it a little easier, but pit lanes aren't meant to be easy to get into. There are some horrific ones. For example, people don't think it's horrific, but Spa is right on the final chicane because of that tight left-hander getting into it.
Yeah.
That's a pain where you can easily clip your front wing, but people don't complain about it because they like the track.
Yes.
So
bias blinds people, doesn't it? You're right.
Yeah, so with Japan, people aren't massive fans of the track. They're going to find something to complain about. The pit lane's one thing, but at the end of the day, the point still stands. If it was that bad, it wouldn't be in.
I share that completely. And like I said, it's not impossible. Especially, there are people that have played in the league for a multiple amount of years now, know how to handle the Japan pit lane. They should do at least anyway. See a bunch of people retiring here in qualifying because, as people have said, the rain is pouring, so therefore now it's going to be even more difficult to even beat your existing time. So it may well be today that Henry walks into this Japanese Grand Prix as the lead man, the man to beat. Kieran right behind him. Bobby Leon's in third. Chissy in sixth position. Again, I mean, this is in a tight title race, in a tight championship race like this, when you're talking about 3 races left, including today, 1 point separating the two. Is it that kind of level of tension where you start to say that everything is important, Sergio? You usually say, well, qualifying, it's not a big deal. You finish first or 6th or 10th or whatever because, these guys are very good racers. But is that 6th place finish in qualifying today for Chissy going to be an obstacle for him, or you don't think so?
I don't think it's going to be an issue, no. I think it would be if you're looking more near 10th place. However, the cars that are in front of him are all fast drivers. They're all fast runners. They're not going to slow him down. The only person that might is Bobby.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. Bobby and Tiller. We've seen Tiller defend before. I mean, I always reference it. You look back to the Ferrari brick wall defence, where both Ferrari drivers at that time of Blazer Guns and Tiller were absolutely defending for their lives, and they did a fantastic job of it and pulled away the win for Ferrari. So we know Tiller's got it in his locker. He knows what he's dealing with when defending Chissy, and he can do it again. So I think Tiller and Bobby are going to prove the biggest factor for holding up Chissy. There's no disrespect for Dylan Evans. I've just not seen him defend much against Chissy, so that's kind of hard to predict, but that, I think, is where the potential delay would be for him, if there is any at all.
It's fair. Well, listen, I mean, if there's ever a point in time tonight that Henry is looking at Tiller and saying, give me that prime blocking version of yourself, it's now, because he's close to Bobby Leon's. He's ahead of Chissy. Imagine if tonight Henry wins this race because Tiller holds up the 2 competing contenders. We may well see if that happens. Henry launched into a bit of a title charge himself, and it all is dependent on his teammate. Qualifying, though, has concluded. Fellas, please do not ready up until Michael gives the signal. Remember, it is supposed to apparently be raining 45 minutes into the actual race as well, so maybe think about your setups and your strategy there. But hearing here from Michael that the ready up time, the green lights will be at 10:07 p.m. So again, please do not ready up until 10:07 p.m. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, thank you, thank you in advance. So, sunny now. I mean, listen, you look at that, Sergio. I peered over to the right side where my TV is, and we've got a bit more sunnier skies. So it could well be the case today. Rain in quali, sunny start here, and then rain into the race. Does that complicate things here in Japan for you, if that is going to be the way that it lands?
Sorry, what was that question?
Does Japan become harder if it's sunnier here now? Because it looks a little bit more blue skyish here. If it starts sunny, and then we then see rain creep in towards maybe the back 25% of the race, 25, 20 laps in, is that going to make Japan a little bit more overcomplicated or a little bit more simple?
I think that's the easier way to go about it. I think if it was raining to start with and then dries up, that's still going to add complication due to the track not fully drying. Obviously, there will be a dry line that will form, but then say it's then sunny for the rest of the race and it was raining at the start. Anytime you try and overtake, you're going to be on a greasy surface or a slightly wet surface, and that could cost you, one wheel into that could spin you. So, if anything, this is the ideal way around you want it if it's going to rain.
It's fair enough. Well, listen, we're going to see what happens here as well, because we're just seeing that Surtees just said he was kicked for being inactive. So I wonder if Mike was going to tell him, tough titties, see you next week, or if they're going to try and save him and get him back in. He's typing now, but Yes. People are saying, why have we got to wait 4 minutes? Someone said fuel. Michael said fuel, toilet. And then Bateman said, I have a wank. Well, that's lovely. Listen, whatever you got to do in the driver's lounge, you do. Please do not announce to the rest of the drivers that you're beating off, though. Or at least put a sign on your driver door. That's fantastic. All right. Well, we are waiting and seeing exactly what happens here. So 10:07 p.m. Not too long to wait as of now. Predictions then for you, Sergio. Who are you going for the podium tonight?
I think I want to say it's going to be Bobby Leon's P1. It's going to be VRL Kieran P2 with Henry P3.
Okay. What makes you say that? Just skill level in general? Because that's the thing. Is Japan more of that kind of a track that's about patience or skill? That's the other thing, isn't it?
I'll be honest, I feel like this track is more patience, just because you've got to wait for the right time to make the move and not be stupid about it. But yeah, I feel that that's the way the podium's going to go, because I think Chizzy's going to have some hard battles, but I think he might get hard done by in some of the battles potentially, or might just get blocked out.
All right, well, listen, not going to be waiting here too much longer to find out. As the Japanese Grand Prix is nearly upon us. Sergio's saying, right, need a safety car in 7 minutes. So that's what everyone's favourite intermediate man is saying. I'm playing in cloud gaming, woeful Korea. Playing in cloud gaming is certainly a choice. That is going to be something. Here we go, though. Looks like we're lights out, Sergio. So we're off and away in this one tonight. As let's see what chaos unfolds. Sunny skies here for the time being. But we're off. And now this first corner of doom perhaps going to be where we see something as well. Oh my goodness, Jesus Lord. There's devastation on the tracks already, Sergio. As cars have flown off the grid here. You said it was the first 50%. Well, you weren't joking. You weren't lying to us. Pollen Breath is one of the casualties. Blazer Guns and CB46 may well be as well. Are you seeing any damage on the cars in particular? Maybe the Williams there?
Yeah, so Blazer Guns, definitely some damage. Pollen Breath, definitely some damage on the front wings. The CB46 car, front wing damage there as well on the opposite side. And I think we may have some bodywork damage on the Ferrari as well, of Henry, who ultimately was the main reason, I won't say cause, but the main reason that a few of those cars ended up off the circuit. I don't know if he was spun or if he managed to spin the car himself. I think he might have made contact with someone there and actually got spun around on the circuit. He was in the middle of the circuit. Others didn't have time to avoid him because the pack was right on top of him, and that sent a few people wide and into the wall, and some people facing the wrong way as well.
Well, I wonder if people are going to feel hard done by there. We know CB46 definitely feels so. He can't believe he's taken damage. So damage right from the off. His CBAs. Bailey said he got a front row seat to that carnage as well. Let me talk to us here a little bit, Sergio, about, you know, our leader as this, at the time being Kieran. We know him as the 8 to 9 lap man, and then it all goes, you know, up the wall. It goes down the pan quite quickly. We know that Kieran struggles, whether it's his concentration, his focus, or whether it just be, you know, I think overexcitement in some turns that leads him to spin his car. Is Japan a track today where you can see him finishing, or is this another one where you just chalk this one up and say, we'll try again in week 9?
I think if it stays dry, I think there's a chance we do see him finishing quite strong as well. I think if the rain does come into play, then there's a chance that we don't see the end of the race for Kieran.
Well, that's harrowing words there, and that's words that you've got to take with severe credibility, because we have seen, Sergio's seen it, I've seen it, we've seen this young man race. We know that he can win a race, we saw him win a championship for Christ's sake, but it's just that question mark on what happens when we get into double-digit laps. I would probably say if I was up the gringo that we've seen Kieran DNF more races than we have him finish races, which is hilarious considering, like I said, he won the championship last season, but it's all true. Talk to me as well, if there is supposed to be rain coming in 45 minutes into this race, Sergio, do you understand why we're seeing so many softs out on the grid, or does that make no real sense to you at this early moment?
I want to say it's essentially just strategy based and essentially going on the prediction of rain coming in. I'm not. I have to admit, I'm not entirely sure though, because obviously I'm used to people saying that the softs are useless, they don't work, they're this, that, and the other, and calling every name under the sun other than something positive. So I'm not really used to seeing people on softs. I have to admit, it is a nice change. It is a nice mix, but what benefit actually gives these cars, I don't really know. I don't think there is one. So my guess is it's purely strategic based on when the rain's coming.
That's fair then. That's fair. Well, listen, for now, 3 laps in, 24 still to go. It is incredibly early days here, but after that kind of initial carnage, it seems to have all kind of quietened down. Let's go through the kind of middle of the pack here. There's a lot of, I think this is going to be the case today, isn't it, Sergio? Japan often, it reminds me of another one of those circuits, another one of those GPs where you see those miniature break-offs happen. There's usually a battle between 1st and 3rd, then a battle between 7th and 9th, then a battle between 12th and 15th. Do you expect it to be kind of mini battles all over the grid today?
Yeah, I think that'll be the case for quite a decent portion of this event here tonight. I think, especially around the pit window, that's really going to break some cars out of their packs and groups. But it might well pull together again based on the power units, with the battery and the overtake modes and stuff. But I think for most of this group, I think once the pit stops come into play, that's going to be that, and that'll split a lot of these people up for the rest of the race.
Well, for now, Kieran's still doing well to fend off Bobby Leons. I mean, I don't think you saw much because you were kind of stressing about your car last week. I don't know when you were sat in the cold, you were watching any of the race, but even if you weren't, this is a situation that Chissy found himself in last week as well. He just couldn't seemingly, break into the battle that was between Bobby Leons and Henry. He was effectively, I put it so brilliantly, as he was sat in the F1 cuck chair for the entire race. He's kind of in that situation again. Yes, only 4 laps in, but he's just struggling to kind of even get involved in the jousting. I mean, he's jousting with Bobby Leons there. Now looks to maybe try and make a move on Kieran, but as one of the top drivers like Chizzy is that gonna be dangerous, or is that gonna be motivational for him? You're a top racer. You've won championships before. Last week you just couldn't get involved. Does it lead to him wanting to push himself to the point where he is even more dangerous in a good way today, or does that maybe fire him up and maybe he does something stupid in order to try and gain the lead, which then causes him to crash or break a part of his car or whatnot? It's very much mental based, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. It's completely mental based, so I think it certainly will be interesting to see what kind of approach he takes on it, and I think that might have more of a toll on him after recent races and how they've planned out compared to how they benefit. I think it's actually hard to look past some of that stuff. If there's people that you've been racing against that you've struggled to get by, and then you find yourself looking at the rear of their car again another week or next week or whatever, and I think that is a real struggle, and that's a mental mountain to sort of really climb.
I think the thing as well is maybe even what's the word? The aim has almost shifted from Chizzy. It used to be, all right, I've got to come out and I've got to win the race. CB46 there is retired. See if that was in the pits. It seems it was. That damage is too much for him. He's had enough. But maybe tonight the goalposts have shifted, Sergio. 1 point lead in the championship table and the championship standings. 3 races left, including today. Maybe the aim now from Chizzy is just, okay, doesn't matter if I win, doesn't matter if I lose, but I just need to finish ahead of Bobby. That's all I've got to do. You think he'll be thinking of it that way?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, that viewpoint, I would say, is a confident champion viewpoint to have, really. because you can win a championship without winning a single race in a season.
We've seen it
is
before.
doable. Yeah, you've just got to finish in front of the right people. So you don't have to win races to win championships. You just have to beat certain individuals. That's all it is, and that's all it comes down to. So, like, I mean, the best example for that would be the Lando Norris debut World Championship. He didn't win every race. His teammate beat him to a few. Max Verstappen beat him to a few. But all he needed to do in that final race was beat Max and finish in a certain position. That's all he had to do, and he did just that. So that's all it takes, is to finish in front of the right people, and that will win you the championship, not the individual race wins.
Consistency always leads to results, and that's no doubt what maybe Chissy and Bobby Leons will be repeating to themselves. CB46, they're getting back into the driver's lounge, said, can't be arsed racing in that shit show. Car parked in the middle of the track, and the game puts me on softs when I chose hards. So feels like he's been let down there tonight by EA Sports. I don't think he'll be the only one, but unfortunately not CB46's night, and maybe his head just a little bit too hot this evening. Again, this top 3 race is a real sight to see. You could sit here all day, but it wouldn't be fair to the other drivers that are giving up their time. So let's go back through the grid here. Dylan Evans looking to make a move on Tiller as well. And look at that, just as we talked about one person making a move, Shadow's Gunner and Dom Parry are absolutely neck and neck. Wales's finest against Shadow's Gunner, who had a phenomenal season on FIFA, but will he be striking his way to victory tonight, I wonder. For now, a little bit of contact, but Dom Parry just falling a bit further behind. Oh, Shadow's Gunner, Henry there has just spun out, entering the pit lane. That is not ideal. I just literally flicked down the grid and I'm seeing his car is sideways, and he's not even hit there by another car who's trying to enter the pit lane. So yeah, Henry, I mean, I tell you this much, he's lucky that he's not just been absolutely T-boned and destroyed there. The Ferrari, the high-flying Ferrari from the last couple of weeks, pitting after a, what can it be described, a unfortunate and disastrous first couple of laps. For now though, down even near the bottom of the grid, Blazer Guns very much looking to keep up with his teammate Pollenbreath, as Kieran 19 is in the crosshairs there. Surty playing his smooth jazz, just having a leisurely Sunday drive, as he's almost I don't know what Surty's doing, but he's power sliding into the wall here at this point. Those 6-lap-old softs not exactly going to be doing him any favours either. For now, Henry back out on on fresh hards, excuse me, as well. Bailey over 3-second time penalty. Back up the grid, Underdog here, looking to chase down Jamsey and Dirty Hippo and try and forge a pathway for himself into the top 10. However, for now, just a little bit slower. And again, every single driver in that top 10 has had moments of brilliance, not just this season, but in previous seasons. Jamsey, Hippo, Michael, Dom Parry. This is a really difficult kind of grid to mix it with. Underdog, though, not just staring down one, but staring down 3 potential cars. Could find himself all the way in 8th position if he plays his cards right. Horse going back up through Jamsey and Hippo, with Michael now as a lead over Hippo, but Jamsey just overtaking him there, activating DRS in that straight. As now Michael's got to defend 8th position for his life. Dom Parry and Shadow's going to continue to have a little bit of a joust, as these two just cannot shake off one another. And talking of jousts, Dylan Evans, look at that, right on the rear of Sean Tiller, everyone's favourite Ferrari. No offence, Henry, but Tiller's just missed the Ferrari at this point. I think he's had the Ferrari tags all season long, all year long. Right now, though, got to find a way past him. Back up here, though, this battle, this freeway battle for first continues, Sergio. Only 8 laps in, nearly a third of the race through, pretty much. Out of what you've maybe been seeing, flicking between these 3, who are you most impressed with so far of Chissy, Bobby and Kieran?
I have to say probably Chissy. Most positions gained out of the top few cars. Obviously starting off P6, P1 now, so 5 cars up. I think he's done the best job. Closely followed by Bobby, and the unfortunate one who's lost out here is Kieran. I think he's only lost 1 position since the start of the race. So it's not that bad, but it's the fact that he's lost it to obviously Chissy and Bobby, who are both tricky customers in terms of getting back past again.
Lap 9 there just being taken as well. You know, we start to look at tyre strategy, especially these boys on mediums. I mean, is this a one-stop for you tonight? Is this a two-stop? How would you be treating this one if you were on the grid with the boys tonight?
I'll be bold and be trying to go for a one-stop, especially if you're on a racing wheel as well. You can keep obviously driving a lot smoother, and I recommend everyone to at least experience racing on a sim wheel as well, because it makes a massive difference in terms of what kind of level you are as a racer as well. Because I found out recently, doing a F1 career, which I know is obviously different from online racing, but you can test yourself against the AI, and obviously those people that know F1 can know you can go up to, I think it's 110 or 120 total level, and on a controller I'm sitting at about 70 something. I'm not that good on a controller. The turns are very jagged and very sharp all the time, and it's very difficult to sort of get your hands on it unless you've got a very steady thumb, which of course I don't. Whereas on the sim wheel it's completely different, because you can put the AI rating on 100 and you'll barely notice it, and you're more than keeping up with them. So a wheel makes a massive difference, and you save your tyres a lot more as well, because your turns are smoother. So I definitely recommend people doing that. But I think if I'm on a sim wheel, I'm going for the long run, and I'm going to try and one-stop it. If I'm on a controller, probably going to look at a two-stop with a short stint on softs at some point.
Okay, well, for now we're seeing Surty there go into the pits as those softs have been re-bought out. So he's pitted and he's still on soft. So I don't know if that's going to change, but for now 9-lap-old mediums dominating the kind of front six of this tower as Bobby, Leon's, Kieran and Chissy continue to do battle, and that will be the case throughout more or less the entire evening. I can tell you that much for absolutely free. Of course, going back for the grid as well, we've got Michael and Jamsey here. Oh my god, my pad. Dear lord. Yeah, the cable's a bit loose on my controller. I don't know why it does that. Oh, I'm back anyway, Sergio. My pad just decided to turn off because it's stupid. But yeah, still, you know, even away from the front three, I've been thoroughly impressed with the kind of battles here around about, you know, the points positions as well, Sergio. Again, the battle for 9th down to 7th is intriguing. Jamsey, Michael and Hippo all very much intertwined there. You've got Dom Parry, who's now kind of away from Shadow's Gunner, but Shadow's Gunner closing down on him. What are you seeing as interesting maybe in the bottom half of the grid here tonight? Any battles or any duels that you're liking here?
Yeah, there was a few early in the race. Obviously the cars are split up now. I've just watched Underdog actually go past Bailey. Might have been a little contact there because Bailey ended up on the stones. But yeah, there was a few good battles going on earlier on in this racing session, and those involved cars like Mr. Tism, who's now in 18th place. But we were looking at about a 4 or 5 car battle from about P12 all the way back to P17. So there was quite a good chunk of this group all close together, and there's still a few of them out there at the minute, being Kieran, Ryan Parker, and Henry as well. So yeah, there's a few good battles going on, and to be fair, they've all been very entertaining as well, and they've kept things close, and yeah, like I say, very entertaining for those to watch.
Yeah, I need to see as well what Henry can do down here. Like I said, he had that horrific start. Then, of course, when we peaked on him, as we looked in his POV, about 6 laps in, he spun out and then he got T-boned in the pit lane. To say it's been a difficult evening for the Ferrari so far is an understatement. He's in a battle here now with Ryan Parker and Kieran 19, just overtaken that in a really smooth and brilliant way. Down here as well, of course, you got Pollen Breath, who's just pitted and coming out now on fresh hards as well. Surtees, sorry, excuse me, continues to try and, I don't know, find a way back into this with those softs. I think it feels like he's going to need a safety car to have any hope in hell, though. Or maybe that rain to come sooner rather than later. When we're talking about rain coming 45 minutes into the race, Sergio, I mean, how many laps in do you reckon that could be? Or maybe are we going to miss it? You know, it is kind of up in the air, isn't it? Because it still looks very blue skies out there.
Yeah, I don't know if we are going to get any rain. I mean, there's slight overcast building, but again, it's not there. It's not there yet. I don't know if we will see it in time, if I'm completely honest. It will be very interesting to see if it does come like at all in the next few laps. But I think, yeah, if we do see any rain, it's going to be towards the end of the race. And if I'm honest, for the entertainment factor, I'm hoping it does happen, because Japan's another one of those tracks where it's more built for the hot weather, because it can get quite hot out there. But at the same time, it needs to have good filtration, which it does have, but you've got to remember some of this track is sloped, so there'll be a lot of standing water if it does happen.
There you go. Well, that's the other thing as well. We talked about standing. What was the last track that you were here? We talked about standing water. But you talked about the aero ducts of the track as well. Was that recently? I feel like I remember that conversation. But it was a track that you said that when it rains, it's a lot more difficult because there's so much standing water because of the track design being so old or whatnot. I think it was. But I mean, regardless, I hope it rains. You know why? Because I know the drivers don't want it to rain. Because as you said earlier on, that first 50% of the track, Sector 1, Sector 2, if that has to be done in wet conditions, then dear Lord, you're either going to see more collisions and combustions, or you're going to see really cautious driving, which may well alter the landscape of this race. As while we've been speaking there as well, Bobby Leons has pitted, gone on to fresh hards. Chissy has followed him in as well. Does it surprise you that Kieran has remained out there on 12-lap-old mediums, Sergio?
Yeah, a little bit. But again, if you've got the confidence, and I'm sure Kieran has the setup that he needs, you can take him a little longer. If you're not losing much time on your tyres, just keep them rolling. If other people are struggling, that's on them. If you can keep your time still in the realms of quick, then there's no point in changing them early.
And last question as well. I'm firing like multiple rapid-fire questions because just all things that enter in my head. If you're one of these guys now in second, third, and fourth, the Jamsies, the Hippos, the Michaels, 12-lap-old hards, what is the cut-off point where you say, okay, now let's go on to mediums? Are you trying to get the tyres to maybe lap 16, lap 17, and then pit? Are you going to try and finish this on 10-lap-old mediums? Because it's inverted, isn't it? You've got people going from mediums to hards, now you've got people going from hards, no doubt, to mediums. These guys, right now, in this race in the top 5, have to go on to mediums when they pit.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, my choice would be going onto mediums right now, because if there is a chance of rain at some point towards the end of the race, you're on the slightly quicker tyre, whereas the harder tyre, yes, okay, you can use it for longer, but it is a slower tyre to use, and that can be noticeable in people's lap times as well, especially on this game. It really does sort of expose that different tyre compounds between each car. Yeah, it'll be an interesting one, but my preference would be jumping onto the mediums, because then if you're not going to be on that long, at least with the mediums, they give you some good speed for the short, brief time that you are on them for.
Well, Kieran there has also now just gone in. He's stayed out there for one extra lap compared to his rivals of Chissy and Bobby Leons, and he's now gone on to fresh hards for the remainder of the 13 laps in this race. I mean, that is the gamble, because F1 is just like a big slot machine, isn't it? When you know that there's the chance of rain, Sergio, you have to make an educated guess, an educated gamble, and say, I'm going to live and die by this decision. Kieran going on to hards right now. This is perfect if it doesn't rain. It starts to get very difficult for Kieran. If it rains, he's got to go in again, pit again. It means he would have lost the race. So in this position, when we're talking about 14 laps down, you know, we're just about halfway through now. We heard 45 minutes. That was the line for Bobby Leons. 45 minutes into this race, there's rain according to his race coordinator. So you're thinking about lap 20, maybe 21. That is going to be the ideal period where you have to make a guess, a gamble, and go in. Because we've seen it before, haven't we? Races in the middle having rain, and I think it was Surtees or Blazer Guns, it was one of those two, that they went in, didn't they? They came back out, the rain started, and they had to go right back in again. So it is about making that judgment, and it is about making that guess, but so tricky, because it can ruin your entire race.
Yeah, no, 100%. And these tricky decisions is, well, make or break, really, for these drivers in this league, because at the end of the day, a tricky decision like that, or a gamble, could shape your season, and could make or break it.
Here's another random question from F1 and real life then. Has there ever been something like that that's happened in the real life F1, where maybe a guy over the radio has told Hamilton or somebody, hey, listen, it's going to rain, let's go in now, and let's get the tyres changed over, and then it's not rained and it's cost them the race and they've been fired. Can you think of anything like that in terms of coordinators that have made such horrendous decisions for their drivers that they've been sacked as a result of it?
There might be one or two situations where that has happened. None that I can think of, though. I don't know of anyone that's been fired because of that. There has been poor decisions in terms of either switching tyres too late, so then the driver spins out and loses a race. For example, Lando Norris is a good one for that. In the Russian GP, they asked him notoriously as he's going past the pit lane, how do you feel on the dries? He said, yeah, no, it's fine. Literally turn one, he spun out and said, no, it's not fine. And he lost the race because of it. He was in P1, I believe, at that time as well, and he completely lost the race.
Is that when the I am stupid thing came from? Is that what the sound like?
That was Charles Leclerc.
Okay.
I think potentially when he hit the castle sector in Baku, you know,
the
tight
graveyard
section.
Yeah,
he hit there, and when he hit his car head on there, that's when he goes, I am stupid.
Yeah, don't worry, Charles, pal. We've all been there on Baku, even virtually. Feel your pain, buddy. But there you have it. See? Even the professionals struggle with the castle of death. Phenomenal. Well, right now, listen, 16 laps in out of 27. Very few penalties I've been surprised at tonight, Sergio. Jamsey with 3, Ryan Parker with 3, Blazer Guns with 3, Bateman with 3, Bailey with 3, and Tism with 6. Despite all those complaints about the pit lane being this, the pit lane being that, no one with speeding in the pit lane penalties as of yet. You surprised by the lack of pens here, Sergio?
Compared to what we have seen all season, yes. I think all the drivers have done a pretty damn good job. Obviously, the race is not over yet. We've still got
touch wood.
the third yet to go. But I think they've all done pretty well, and especially in terms of contact as well. Apart from the fairly large crash at the start of the race, I haven't seen any other big crashes or big incidents. I think they've done all pretty well.
There you have it. As well, Surtees just there saying as well, Lando and Russia was a sad day. The team let him decide rather than forcing the wets. I mean, again, I've got so much kind of like questions to ask people that are historically into F1. But I mean, is that a common thing where almost kind of, you know, guys on the radio are too, I don't know, afraid because of the stature of a driver to kind of force them and say to them, hey, listen, go in now, listen to me, go in on the wets. I don't care if you're Charles Leclerc or Lando Norris or, you know, I don't care if you're Max Verstappen, do what I'm telling you. Or, you know, is that quite a common thing where the teams are almost a little bit hesitant to tell the drivers one thing when they want to do the other?
I think the problem is that the drivers have a little too much say. Well, not too much say, but I think their word is a lot stronger now.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, they're behind the wheel, so I can understand it.
Yeah, compared to what it used to be back in the day, I think their word is a lot stronger now. So rather so much the race engineer saying, okay, this is what we're doing, they will still advise. They'll say, this is the strategy, come into pits, strap mode, whatever. You know, they'll do all that still. But ultimately, it comes down to the driver saying, no, I don't believe we're right doing this. Or why are we doing that, and actually questioning it. They're kind of going back and forth with the engineer. Like, we've seen it quite a lot with Lewis Hamilton in Ferrari this season. Not agreeing with the way they're doing the strategy. I don't blame him because they don't know what the strategy is. They're notoriously bad for strategies in Ferrari. So I don't blame him for questioning it. But you do see it quite a lot, and especially with Max Verstappen as well. He knows he's a good driver. He knows how the car feels. He's the one actually driving it. If he feels the team making a bad call, he will go against it, and he's not afraid to do so. And
there's no punishment for doing that, though. It's like, you know, because it's like, you know, it's like in football where, like, if Mourinho told you to do something, you refuse, and just sub you off. There's just no, they can't. The team behind the radio can't like tell the drivers, hey, you're getting a fine or something. No, they can't do anything like that.
Yeah, no, they can't. They can't do anything like that. So, yeah, if the driver decides to not listen or whatever, then well, so be it.
Crazy. Certainly there is. Oh wow! There's Kieran's spin out. As I lean forward, we see it. It wasn't 8 or 9 laps today. It's lap 18, and Kieran, who was waiting to re-enter the track there, has spun. Wow, we've got a front row seat to that one. It is textbook Vero Kieran, but this is the big question mark now. 9 laps to go. He's still in the points. is he going to persevere and finish, or is he going to say, well, that's ruined, I'm retiring? Because again, remember, fellas, defending champion, 0 points on the standings so far. So we'll stick with Kieran, because I'm very interested to see what he does when he reaches that pit lane. From Surti there as well, he says the Lando team at Russia was very inexperienced. He basically led all but the final 4 laps. Team had all the data and let him gamble for it, and he lost out to Hamilton, whose team forced him to pit. Also, rain was like 10 minutes out, will be close. So there you go, 10 minutes, Surti said, before he retired, before the rain hit. Last question for you, Surti, and also then you on the actual real F1, because I'm interested now, Sergio. In your opinion, who do you think is the most difficult driver to kind of, if you were on the radio with him and you were having to guide him for a race, who do you think is the most difficult and the one that you'd be muting the mic and saying, this fucking guy, man, I'm going to kill him? Who's that guy in the F1, circle that is just unanimously described as the worst guy to deal with on the radio?
Oh, probably worst to deal with on the radio. I'll be honest, it used to be. Oh no, do I get his name right? I've got his face in my head. I want to say it's Kimi Raikkonen.
Oh, the Finn.
Yeah, I believe it was him, because he'd try and tell him anything, and he'd turn around, swear at you, and say no. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was a notorious clip of him crashing out, I think, in the Monaco Grand Prix, and instead of going and talking to the people in the garage, he went and sat in a hot tub on a yacht.
Wow.
And was just chilling there, and they were recording him through the Sky Sports cameras, and he was just relaxing in a hot tub. He just had enough of it. So I think it used to be him. I think now it's Verstappen, because he knows how good of a driver he is, and he knows that his opinion sits higher than what he's been told to do. I've heard
F1 fans describe Verstappen as like very much the ability and ego of like Ronaldo. He's like the Ronaldo of F1. That's pretty much what people describe him as. 2 shouts there from Surti, a matter where Black says Lance Stroll, entitled arrogant shit, a knob on the radio, etc, etc. Agree with that shout of Lance Stroll, or not for you?
No, not really for me. The only reason I don't feel that is that he's the right shout for that is purely because Lance Stroll can't race full stop. He's there due to daddy's money. So you can tell him to do something, but it's not going to change anything, because the lad just can't race. He's not very good at it. And never will be.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Exactly.
There you go. So he's probably the most hated driver in the pack. Then, well, listen, 7 laps to go. Kieran is still out there, fellas, still watching. Wanted to keep your eyes on this. I mean, listen, Surti wasn't lying, Sergio, because look up at those clouds, man. It's getting a little bit darker out here. 7 laps to go. Can they survive? This is the thing, isn't it? 7 laps to go. If the rain comes in at lap 25, it is purely about who can keep their car steady for the final couple of laps. Because you're not going to pit at lap 24, 25, are you?
No, it will be a case of who can go the distance, who can go furthest. Because I know I've referenced this before, but I remember we saw, I don't know if it was Surti or someone, but someone using dry tyres in wet conditions. It cost them a lot of time, but it was rather impressive the fact they lasted the entire race.
It sounds like
on their dry tyres. Yeah, it was a case of they should have changed tyres ages ago, but they were determined to prove a point that they could do it, and well, they did.
What is then for you the point of no return? We're going into lap 21 now. What is the point of no return where you say if they don't pit by this lap, they have to stay out there no matter what happens?
I think it probably would be lap sort of 24.
Okay.
23, 24, because at that point, even if the rain does come down, it's not going to come down crazy hard. It's going to take a few laps for it to be deemed wet. And it's going to take a few laps for it to be a question of, do we change tyre? So, yeah, you should be able to manage it to that point.
Henry's just having a bit of a joust with Jam, so keep an eye on that. I mean, here's a question for you as well. What's the opinion of this? You see those dark clouds, you see maybe the potential of rain. If you're someone like a Blazer Guns, or someone like a Pollen Breath, Bailey, someone that's not currently anywhere near the points, would you just say, let's risk it. Let's pit now, let's whack on intermediates and see what happens, or whack on wets and see what happens. Because if they do that and then it starts to rain in the next lap or two, they've done an absolute masterstroke, haven't they? And if they don't, then, oh well, you're not going to get any points in 16th. If you finish in 20th, you're not going to get points there either. So it doesn't really matter. Would you risk it for a biscuit if you were one of those lot?
Yeah, I think you've got to in that position. At the end of the day, what you're going to lose? Nothing.
Exactly.
If you've got no points to start with, you're not going to come away with anything less. So it's almost all or nothing, and that's how it should be for any driver that's either not in the points or even not satisfied with their points. If they're in the lower point area of the circuit, then or the race, sorry, then don't panic. Just bargain with what you got. If you're willing to lose your 2 points that you're currently holding on to, for a chance of getting 10 plus, then do it. At the end of the day, 2 points, depending on where you are in your championship, it's not really going to affect your outcome. So it's probably worth gambling for a lot of these drivers.
There you go, 30 seconds away. If you go too early in the wet tyres, though, they'll be cooked by the time the weather comes in. It's valid. I wouldn't even be going on wet. I'd be going on intermediates. I don't think because the way that I look at it is that intermediates can get you through some light rain, some light drizzle, can't it? But I mean, wet's more for like the heavy torrential rain. Or am I completely wrong on that, Sergio?
Yeah, no, I think the intermediates are mainly for. Oh, I remember seeing this somewhere now. Where was it? I think it's 1.4 millimeters of water on track. At that point, anything above 1.4 mil, I believe it's deemed as a wet race.
Okay.
And can be suitable for wet tyres. Anything between 0 and 1.4 is deemed as intermediate territory, I believe. Or I could be wrong. With up to 1.4 mil is dry, 1.4 mil to 4 mil is intermediate, then 4 plus is wet. It's something along those lines.
We'll give you some leeway in terms of the millimeters. Don't worry, you're fine. But I get your drift. I mean, listen, a big thing just happened there, by the way. Granted, Dylan Evans has got a penalty of 3 seconds still, but just took over Chissy and now allowed him to kind of pass again. So 4 laps to go. Bobby Leons, though, is in the clear. So if it stays this way, Sergio, we are going to be seeing Bobby Leons tonight for the first time this season with 2 races to go. Next week and the week after, we're going to be seeing him lead the way in this championship. So for Chissy, very, very, very interesting now as to what needs to happen. He needs to have the best 2 races of his life next week and in week 10 if he wants to win.
Yeah, but again, I think it comes down to the consistency and just keeping that concentration. Just get result after result, and even if you don't pick up the ultimate goal, winning the championship or whatever this season, there's always next. It doesn't have to end here. You've still got every chance to come back, another season and do fantastic things. So, if anything, it's just a statement of intent of what could happen going forward.
Talking of it as well, concentration being the main theme of the last 3 to 4 laps. While we're talking there, Tiller getting a 10-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag, Sergio. Is that on him? Is that lack of concentration, or is that just the game screwing him over, do you think?
I'll be honest, it could be a bit of both. Unless I saw his screen and what he was actually doing, it could well be a bit of both. Because there has been times that you can be screwed over as well as you losing concentration. So,
well, as well, we got more people joining the retirement pile. You can see there, Tism, Underdog, Surtees, CB46 all out. CB went out early. Pollen Breath now as well. Seemingly is retired in the pits. Stu here tonight saying that is my Japan over for the time being. And we are seeing people pit. I mean, that is interesting. So you're seeing here Jamsey coming in on 6-lap-old medium saying, I'm going to risk it. Shadow's Gunner has come in as well and is on softs here. So they're going to try and speed through these last couple of laps. I mean, that is a very, very, very risky strategy, don't you think? Especially if the rain could be coming.
Yeah, it's definitely risky. But it's the gamble. You got to gamble, and some of these drivers will do that better than others. But I think I'll be honest, the gamble's worth it. There's a lot of gaps on the track at the minute, and if you feel that you can make it last, then go for it.
Well, let's see then. Of course, It doesn't look like we're going to have much change in that top 2, fellas. It does look like it's going to be a Bobby Leon's Chissy 1-2. Dylan Evans and Tiller, very much so, with penalties, keep in mind. So it's by getting close to them. Dylan Evans with 3, Tiller with 10. Is there a possibility that we could see maybe Dom Parry sneak this one over the line? Brilliant, talented driver from the Highlands of Wales, but is he going to be able to have a high finish here tonight? He was in that championship race, we said at the beginning of tonight, just on the outside, isn't he? Just on the circumference looking in, but I mean, obviously, it could be a massive, massive moment if he can play his cards right here. He also is pitting. I am extremely interested to see if this is going to be more hards or more softs coming out here. Bobby Leon's his pit, he's gone on to softs. Dylan Evans' pit, he's gone on to softs. So these guys here tonight are almost kind of all looking at each other, Sergio, over the cockpits and saying, come on then, who's got the bollocks to go out here and give it their all? Dom Parry is the only man so far that's come out on intermediates, so that's interesting as well.
Yeah. Again, the gambling is coming into play, and to be fair, so is the rain. The rain has started.
Here we go, then.
This is going to be an interesting part, and Dom Parry's going to be the telling factor on whether it was a good gamble or not.
So keep in mind as well, safety car is out there, Sergio, so that also plays a factor. Could we finish the race under safety car conditions? Is that just not possible?
Yeah, no, that is possible. There is a high chance we could finish it under safety car conditions.
I bet Tiller's hoping and praying that happens, but again, he does have that 10-second penalty as well, so it's not going to be too much to celebrate here. But hopefully, I mean, that's not really ideal then, is it, for the guys that are out on... I mean, who's that benefit more, actually? The guys on softs or the guys on intermediates under safety car conditions? Because your tyres are going to be a little bit iffy either way, aren't they?
Yeah, I think, if anything, it's probably going to benefit the intermediate tyre runners because they won't be going as quick and they won't be pushing the tyres as much, which means that they're not going to overheat as much. Because obviously, I can't remember who it was, but obviously someone in the chat mentioned about how intermediates can get overheated quite quickly, and that is the case. But if you're not pushing them or not racing on them properly, then well, they're not going to heat up that much.
Well, listen, we're not going to finish under safety car conditions because the safety car is in this lap. So the gamble taken by a lot of these drivers tonight, you can see a whole heap on fresh softs. You can see Dom Parry and an army of greens underneath him. Dom Parry is going to be the name that maybe tonight has something to say, because this is a serious track. I mean, Kieran as well, a testament to him not retiring, because right now he's back in the position of finishing potentially in the podium slots as well, Sergio. So there you go. If you keep your head, you're rewarded.
Yeah, big time. And that has shown tonight, and yeah, fair play to him. He's done a good job for being in there, and like you said, he only needs a point to stop himself from being, what was it, the worst champion? So
yeah, the worst champion in history. Yep.
Yeah, he's on route for it.
Well, here we go. Now I wonder what's going to happen as well between Dylan Evans and Dom Parry. If Dom Parry gets up there close enough, I wonder if Dom Parry is going to be kind of almost given an allowance to pass and sneak back in to the podium positions. Oh, my controller, no! Fuck. I keep leaning my controller up and it keeps disconnecting. But I'm here. I'm still here. Well, listen, right now, Chissy is the man that... Oh, my fucking God! Stop it, you! I'm going to scream. There we go. I'm back again. Lent it the wrong way again. Back again with Chissy and Bobby Leon's, as I was saying. Those softs are going to need to be really, really navigated carefully here. Because, again, I remember this in some of the old heads from VFL and F1. I remember this. Com 45, final lap. I can't remember what track it was. Similar conditions to the conditions we're seeing now. Led the race the whole way, spun out, smashed into the wall. If one of these two, Bobby, Chissy, takes a turn here too quickly in these wet conditions, they may well find themselves between a rock and a hard place. Look how tight this is, though, Sergio. These two are going for it.
Yeah, and well, it's a testament to racing in general. This is what it's all about. I'm even going to join you towards the top of the tower, because normally I look at those towards the back. There's not much going on there.
Oh, God! Oh, Jesus! Well, Chissy's just gone wide. And Dylan Evans like a torpedo there on the side, and it's now Vero Kieran who's looking to steal the show today. Bobby Leons, though, has got a little bit more space between. I wonder if Kieran's just happy enough with taking second place after the disaster at lap 16 where he spun around. We weren't sure if he's going to continue or not. But right now, it is Chissy who has almost blinked first and had that first mistake happen. And you can see here he's got Kieran and Bobby in his eyesight, but I think too much distance and too much time has elapsed here for Chissy to make 2 overtakes. It is in Kieran's hands to stop Bobby Leons here tonight. If he doesn't, then well, Bobby is going to be your Season 5 league leader as it stands with 2 races to go. Tiller as well doing a hell of a job out there on 16 back on the hards in this weather. But ultimately, the end is nigh as we watch Bobby Leons here through Kieran's cockpit view speed towards the finish line. A really good take on the corner there from Kieran, in fairness, but it's just that acceleration off the gap as well that's helped Bobby. And Bobby Leons tonight has put a firm hand around the championship. He's not got the championship yet, but that is a statement made. And Chissy again, 3rd last week, 3rd this week. Tiller as well with that 10-second time penalty drops to around about 8th position. Kieran on the board finally with points. He can breathe a sigh of relief. He's not going to be the worst champion ever. Dom Parry as well as I think left before everything counted. So again, Michael may need to use my VOD to see where he actually finished in case he needs it. But overall, listen, I think you've got to give props to Kieran. It's difficult to do considering we know how temperamental he is. But again, to have that incident, persevere, finish second is a great testament to him. But geez, now, Sergio, I mean, the next 2 weeks, the final 2 races, Bobby Leons and Chissy, a first-time official league lead for Bobby Leons. He was 1 point behind Chissy tonight. He's now a couple points ahead of him.
Yeah, wonderful display, and that brings things a little tighter here towards the end of the season as well. I mean, we've had a couple of seasons now where things got really tight towards the end, and this is now shaping up to be one of them.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's one of those as well where I'm looking at this, and I can't quite predict it, because again, you've seen these guys race, you've seen how these guys are. Quickly give you this information. The last 2 races on our calendar: Australia next week, Texas in the final week. Now, if you ask Dom Parry, Australia is a curse. It is a death prison in terms of how difficult it is with the battery management now. And I asked Dom last week, is Australia where the league title is going to be maybe decided? I think after tonight, that question is more prevalent than ever.
Yeah, 100%. Unless there's an absolute outrageous lead, I don't think you can ever really say the title's been decided at all, because there's all sorts of faults or issues that could happen between.
That's also fair.
Well, any point of the season really, both in game and in person as well. So yeah, there's a lot of factors that come into it, and more so on here than in the actual racing.
Well, there you go as well. Michael, if you're listening to this and need it, and you need the VOD replay to see where Dom Parry actually finished, yeah, the VOD will be up as soon as I get the stream off, so don't worry. You can see where he got waved over in case you need it. But overall, listen, an exciting Japan tonight and an exciting moment in the league. Bobby Leons, for the first time this season, the first time in this last 7 weeks, leads the way. He was originally in as a substitute driver. You saw how well he was doing. He said, you know what, keep me in. I'll see you every Monday. And now he very much is on course to become Season 5's champion. What does it mean as well for the team constructors? I mean, again, the Red Bull had a good night. Jamsey, I think, had a decent enough showing. And, of course, Chissy always so strong. So maybe that's going to go down to the wire as well. For now, though, listen, we've got nothing else for you. We're in Australia next week. Is it going to be as terrible, as torturous, as Dom Parry painted it out to be last week? Or is it going to be a little bit nicer, a bit more pleasant than what Dom Parry said? Only time will tell. Sergio, anything for you to end off on?
No, just some fantastic racing once more, and yeah, quality from everyone all around tonight, and look forward to next week's.
Absolutely. Appreciate you boys as well, and Michael, as per usual, for all your effort and for giving us your Monday evening. Remember, any incidents to report, please use Michael's channel. Submissions will close tomorrow night. So anything you want to report, anything you want to try and get some punishment, some justice, Batman-esque justice for, whack it in Michael's race submission or incident submission thread. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next week for Australia. For now, though, it is Bobby Leon's title to lose. Good night.